Hello, and welcome to the first video of the new channel Reformation of Matty Man. So if you didn't watch my last video, look at that first, or else you're not going to understand anything that's happening now. But basically, what we're going to do in this video is that we're going to look at my Tolkien collection, the Tolkien book series collection. So Tolkien is something I've been into since 7th grade, when I was forced to read The Hobbit for class. And I've loved Tolkien since. So without further ado, let it begin, starting with The Hobbit. This was the first version of The Hobbit, or anything Tolkien related, I ever owned and read. Right here. This is the illustrated edition of The Hobbit, which was illustrated by Jemima Caitlin, where it has, mostly these drawings right here. Has most of the stuff. Now I had this for school, which means I had to annotate it, which lines are very badly annotated, but so since this one had to get annotated, I ended up having I got another one, the same book, same stuff, but this one has no annotations, yet it's still not in the prettiest condition. But it's fine. And the next is the most recent. No, not the most recent. It's not the most recent, but it's one of the most recent additions to my collection. And this is the illustrated by the author edition of The Hobbit. So it doesn't have as many illustrations, but the illustrations that are on here were illustrated by the author himself. So I'm going to try and find one real quick. Right here you can see that this is illustrated by the author right here. And on top of that, without its dust jacket, it looks really cool with the golden prints in the side bind too. And the pages are blue, and it has the runes written on has the runes written on it, and it says The Hobbit or There and Back Again by J.R.R. Tolkien. So it's really, really cool. Next up, Lord of the Rings, starting with this one right here. So this is the 1-volume edition paperback Lord of the Rings, like movie franchised a bit, because it has the actors from the movie on the back of here. Anyway, yeah, it's basically just the whole story, just printed same way in one bind right here. This bind's even bent because it's such a large book. So when I started reading it, this was actually the version I was reading, and so I picked up another one that had the 3 volumes separated into different books. Next is the Lord of the Rings box set, which has the 3 books separated, and these are kind of like reprints. It's not the original print. The font size is bigger than in the other ones, which means it has a little bit more pages than what it might have. And this is the Fellowship of the Ring right here. We'll do a better view of this. So this is the Fellowship of the Ring, the first one of the trilogy. Right here, it's all paperback, but it's fine. So yes, the font is noticeably bigger here, but other than that, it's basically all the same things. I actually have not finished this yet. My bookmark's right here. I am in chapter 6 of the second part of Fellowship of the Ring. Soon I'll have it all done, so I can read everything else. Next up is The Two Towers, which is the second one. It's all the same, except it's just a continuation of the story. It's the smallest of the 3 books, but, it's just the middle ground that happens in the story. And then lastly, you have Return of the King, which is the same thing, except it's the ending, and it has the appendices and the family trees and stuff like that. The maps are actually not at the end of all of them, but yeah, and down they go. All of the books together in the box set looks really, really good, combined with the whole design of the box. So yeah, it looks lovely. Next up, we have the Silmarillion. The Silmarillion is just the original printing in the newest popular paperback binds, just like this. Nothing special about this edition, and the same thing goes with the unfinished tales. Nothing special about the particular edition, but I have it when it's time for me to read it, so I can learn all the cool stuff in lore. I just have to finish Lord of the Rings first. It's a very wordy book. Next up is the second trilogy of Tolkien, which is this collection right here. This is the Children of Húnin, Beren and Luthien, and the Fall of Gondolin in this really, really cool box set. These are the hardcover illustrations by Alan Lee, so we're going to look at these individually. I've actually only unboxed these once, so this is going to hurt a little bit. It still has that fresh book smell. So up first is the Children of Húnin. As you can see, it's hardback, but with a paper jacket. It starts with the map, and it has the whole story with the Alan Lee illustrations, which they look so cool. I kind of want to get the Alan Lee illustrations of The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, because those will probably be insanely cool to have. These are like the photos you see in like the Nerd of the Rings videos. Yeah. Actually, these are probably like exactly the same images. Next up is Beren and Luthien, which I don't think is quite as story-oriented as Children of Húnin. Unfortunately, I think it's just explains some of the parts of it, while also just kind of being a lore book at that point, unfortunately, but it's still good. The last of the second trilogy is The Fall of Gondolin, which goes back to story-oriented, which is going to be great. I'm really excited for this one and the Children of Húnin. I just need to read Lord of the Rings first, and then I'm going to read these, and then I'm going to read the Silmarillion Unfinished. No, not in Unfinished Tales. Then the next one. And that next one is The Fall of Numenor. I think these are also in... Yes, these are also in the story orientation. I think. Never mind, I might be wrong. But it's still got the super cool Alan Lee illustrations. And last but not least is the really big one, so we'll get that in just a moment. This is insanely heavy, but this is the whole History of Middle-earth collection, comprised into 3 huge volumes, which by itself is like 11 volumes. So, yeah, let's get to these now. Okay, already you can see the sheer size of these things right here. With the History of Middle-earth Part 1, Book of Lost Tales, Book of Lost Tales Part 2, The Lays of, how you pronounce it, Shaping of Middle-earth, and The Lost Road, and other writings. Brought by Christopher Tolkien, J.R.R. Tolkien's son. It has, oh my gosh. So the pages are a whole lot more floppy than all the other ones, which is definitely going to make this a much more different to read. It's because the pages are so thin. It's as big as it is, and the pages are thin. So yeah, this is gonna be a while to read, but they are split into sections, which is actually extremely helpful. So that will definitely be very good. I should do live streams about these. Yo, comment if you want to see live streams about these. This is actually pretty cool. And that is pretty much everything. That's my entire Tolkien collection in this video. And then the next video, we'll look at the manga collection, because this channel is going to be about fantasy books, mainly Tolkien and manga. So next video, we'll be looking at the manga collection next. So stay tuned for that. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, you should totally do that, because there'll be more stuff like this coming. See ya.